DJ PK and Darius Lassiter joins us once again. BYU Cougar wide receiver Darius, good morning.
Good morning.
Darius, Utah and BYU didn't play for the last couple of years. You're a transfer, so you kind of had an idea because people talked about it and you played in big games. But have you ever been in a stadium and felt like that and had those emotional swings? And do you just look at the rivalry game completely different now that you've played in one?
Yeah, it was great. It really lived up to the hype of what people were saying. We knew that it wasn't going to be a blowout game or anything like that because that was still one of the number one defense in the conference. So they still do things very good over there. But it definitely was a fun game to be a part of.
How do you come down from that?
It's crazy because at one point it looks like you're not going to win the game, and then on the other hand, you know that with a group of guys that you got, and you can't stop believing, especially who we got running the show in Kalani. He always tell us don't stop believing in each other, and that's what we did. We stuck with it, and we kept fighting.
That was the roughest performance offensively since that SMU game, and that was a 18-15 game, and you get 22 points here, but you get 7 of them on the kick return. I was curious looking at the guys in the sideline. They had a few. I'm watching on TV. I'm at work, and I got to do a show in the middle of the game. That's another story. But I'm watching. I'm watching the guys on the sideline, and the guys. Some of the offensive players looked a little antsy in some of the sideline shots, and it's awesome. You get the touchdown, right, and you take the lead, but the offense in like real time doesn't get to go out on the field with all the commercial breaks. It starts 15, 20, 25 minutes. How weird is that, and how disruptive is that when you don't get a snap, even one, for that long a period of time?
I don't think it's too much just weird for us, and kind of just throws us off. We can't look at it like that because we know that those things come, and we practice throughout the week with us having timeout breaks and then going back right into it. So I don't think that we can really use timeouts and things like that on how we perform as offense.
When you guys went out there at the end, the last possession, what level of confidence was there as far as thinking, okay, we only need to get in field goal position, and, we did this against SMU, we did this against Oklahoma State, and then that game, obviously, you needed a touchdown rather than a field goal. But the point I'm making is how much were you able to draw from the experience of already having done it?
Yeah, we knew that was going to be our last chance to try to win the game right there. So we knew that we had to go down there and get the job done. And 2 minutes is Jake's thing. So it's easy just to go out there and execute when you got a guy back there managing and controlling everything. Even though a lot of times he had to go out the pocket and things like that, he still kept his cool. Regardless of people hit him laying after the fact or anything like that, he kept his cool. And that's what you want in your leader and somebody that runs this offense.
This will forever be remembered as the holding penalty game. But before that, the snap on 4th and 10 and Jake's running out of real estate in the back corner of the end zone. It looks like safety, incomplete pass. I don't know what's coming. And the referees run in between and stop the game. Have you ever seen anything like that? Could you hear the refs? Apparently no one could hear the timeout. What are you hearing and seeing on the field at that point?
Well, I was able to hear the whistle and also see the ref on the field as I was getting ready to run my route. So it was a little easier for me to see him, especially when I was running towards the ref on my route. I know it gets crazy out there trying to get the O-line set and checks and things like that. So yeah, it was definitely a loud environment. Granted, rivalry, especially last drive of the game like that. So it was rocking in there.
Huge game, tons of emotion expended. But it's over now, and you still have work to do to get where you guys want to go. How do you put it behind you?
Yeah, once we get back in there, I'm sure most of the guys watched the things that they seen on film. it's a lot of even though we didn't score a lot of points, there's a lot of good that we did as an offense. Regardless of us finishing out the drives to 7 or whatnot, but it's a lot of good that we did, and there's a lot of things that we got to clean up. So my biggest thing is just to learn from those mistakes that we had this week and be able to build on it and try to use those things to go into this Kansas week.
The offense had done so little, and it was 21-13, so the game's still in reach, but it's not trending well. And then on one possession, you come out and go 95 yards for a touchdown to make it 21-19. And Jake hit on 3 big pass plays to 3 different receivers. What clicks in that drive that wasn't clicking the rest of the game? Because all of a sudden, it looked like that one drive was lifted out of the Oklahoma State game, and none of the other drives looked like that. So what happens on that one possession?
I think it's just all the guys just fully understanding that we all got to do our 111, and we all got to just play with each other and just settle down as a team. We offensively, we got a O-line, running backs, receivers, tight end. We got to make it easy on Jake. That's one of the hardest positions in the football world. So at all times, we got to be able to make things easier for him. And once we was able to settle down, things started looking wide open for Jake on that possession. And he's the ability that he got to go down there and just manage his team in quick seconds like that, to go 95 yards like that, it's incredible. So the easier that we are, it's going to take all the pressure off Jake.
You guys got in field goal position, then you get backed up 5 yards. You ran the ball 2 or 3 times there. You have any apprehension thinking maybe we should try another pass to get closer?
Yeah, that's something that us receivers were talking about in the huddle. But we knew that we got Will back there. He's sitting on the sideline all smiled up. Coach Pop asking him, which hash do you want on? And, cool Will saying, no, it don't matter, with a big smile on his face. So that's when everybody wasn't panicking. So we didn't have to really take that shot. But it was definitely on the receivers' minds that it was first or second down. We should be able to just take one of them. And if it's there, it's there. And if it's not, just throw it away and look for another down.
So when you finally get to your phone, what kind of feedback are you getting from friends and family? I mean, you've lived in Arizona, Kansas, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had people from all over the place reaching out to you, former teammates and that kind of stuff. What did you hear? What was the craziest thing you heard?
It was just people just saying like they couldn't believe what just happened. They almost thought they really thought the game was over, especially after the 4th down. I'm probably thousands of people in that stadium probably thought the game was over until the flag came out. So they just said there's nothing but God that was just there for us in that situation. And sometimes it helps when you hold him in and you get things to go your way. Not saying that it wasn't a hold or anything like that, because I still do. But yeah, so it was crazy just to see how, especially my brothers and their reaction to after the game, and us coming down and winning with 3 seconds left.
And you had family there?
Yeah, I did.
Did you get a chance to talk to them afterward? Because I'd have to think that was the first time they'd been in this rivalry game to be able to experience that. What did they think?
Yeah, it was good. They had some heckling to them. Good thing that it was just kept at that. But yeah, so it was a great experience. My mom enjoyed it. Her first time having a Kansas and K-State. They don't like each other, but you could tell that the hate was a little different here.
So what's the best thing you heard on the field? Because the thing about Rice-Eccles, those fans are really close. They're right above you. I mean, there's not a lot of space at LaVell Edwards Stadium, but I think there's a little more. So what's the best stuff you heard? I mean, did anybody say anything legitimately funny that cracked you up, even though you know you're not supposed to laugh?
It was people behind us that was just talking to us, but I mean, I like when they just talking. We can go around and just talk back with them, and they can laugh it off and things like that. So we had a group of guys behind us that was cool like that. That was Utah fans. So it was good to interact with them a little bit. It was rivalry, but at the end of the day, you can say things, but if you keep it professional, that's great too.
Keelan Marion's your roommate, right?
Yep.
Did you room with him last year?
Yeah, I did. Sure, since we've been there.
Now, what's going on with him, man? 2 kickoff returns like that. I mean, that just flipped the momentum in a heartbeat. It was stunning to see right after they scored, take the lead, speaking of the Utes, and then boom, he takes it to the house again. Man, if you get 1 a season, and this guy's got 2, and it was in the biggest game to date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's supposed to have about 6, 7 of them. So
you think he's underachieving?
I think he's underachieving right now, because that's just the actual feel for the game that he got, to where everybody's seen that the ball was a sky kick, and you can tell that everybody knew that that was going to go a long way, especially just the preparation that Coach Pop puts into special teams and how deliberate everybody is and trying to perfect it, and because they want to see Keelan run down the sideline, because that's what gives us joy when everybody else is out there making plays. And Keelan he trusted it. He trusted the 10 other guys that was out there with him, and he just hit it. I would have been mad if he got tackled by the kicker, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that would have been all sorts of embarrassment at that point.
Yeah, he would have heard it from you as soon as he got home.
Well, PK alluded to this. The job's not over. 9 down, 3 to go, and then we'll see after that. But 3 more schedule games where we know the opponents. And the next one is Kansas. You lived in Kansas. Your family's got ties to the school. So does this game hit a little differently, given it's your dad and your brother both, right?
Yeah, both of my brothers. Yeah, it definitely hits different, especially because I know the head coach over there, and he's somebody I talked to when I was in the transfer portal. He wanted me, but things just didn't pan out that way. So I always thought I was gonna go there growing up. So it's a little bittersweet anytime we play them, especially after they beat us last year. So I gotta go try to even the score and make it 1-1.
All right, well, good luck in that game. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
There's Darius Lassiter, BYU Cougar wide receiver. Just got his first taste of the rivalry game.
His only taste.
Kansas and Kansas State. Yeah, right. Kansas and Kansas State have they got a thing, but they hate. It hits a little different. A little extra juice.
We're right in each other's faces all the time. Yeah, this is an incredible rivalry, and it keeps topping itself. This game will go down in legend, and then we'll go talk about the comments made by the athletic director afterward and all the things that go into it, and being played so late in the night where I'm communicating with guys at 4 a.m. I mean, this is one of a kind, man. It's just words have a hard time describing what this thing does. And I feel like I'm an outsider. Man, I didn't grow up here. I didn't root for either of these teams. But so I really don't care what the final result is. But if there's a game to be played between these two, I want to be there. And I've been to all of them for many, many years. And they're just absolutely amazing. It's going to be interesting to see how the Cougars respond, because we know the Utes would have hangovers when they play the Cougars when there was conference games still left to be played. When they were out of the conference, they weren't in the same conference. Now, this game this week, I think it's fortunate for the Cougars that it's later in the day and it's at home, because they've got to find a way to muster up. And Kansas, I finally feel a
they're finally
sort of redemption.
They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
they beat Iowa State.
They are a good team.
And they pushed Kansas State right to the wire.
They pushed everybody to the wire.
They're very ASU, yes.
It was like 12, 15 seconds to go in that game. Yeah. And you got to look at the Devils now. Any other year, we'd be looking at Dillingham. Wow, he's the runaway coach of the year. Yeah. Well, not this year.
Well, Kalani's 9-0, and Dion's got a huge turnaround in Colorado.
Any of those three.
Any of those three. Yeah. Those are all good. In any other year.
They're phenomenal stories.
In any year,
right.
Any one of those three could be unanimous coach of the year and nobody would bat an eye.
Right.
But now all three of them are doing it in the same season.
And Kansas took them right to the end. Daniels and Neal, that running back, these are really, really good players. And Kansas, they finished the game. That's what they did. That's the difference is they finished the game. They held on a little bit because they had a big lead and the other guy came back. But they're a really good team. I don't care what their record is. It's been a disappointing season, understood. But any game they can win out.
They play BYU and Colorado on consecutive weeks here, so they got the top 2 teams in the league. They got a chance to bring Iowa State, ASU, and K-State right into the mix.
Absolutely.
Those 3 are all sitting there on 2 losses, and West Virginia. I left them out also.
If Kansas went and finished the season with 4 wins in a row, I would not be surprised. I probably wouldn't pick it, but I would not be surprised. This is a quality football team. There's no doubt about it. I think you can't just look at a record. You have to look at a team and see what's going on there. And these guys, if you want a chip on your shoulder because they've got some scores to settle, not necessarily against the individual opponents, but the fact that they have not had the season record-wise that they want. And that's ultimately what matters the most, clearly. And so from that perspective, BYU needs to be on the top of their game this week. And they're going to get everybody's best shot the rest of the way.
You're a top 10 team and you're undefeated, so that ought to be an automatic. Everybody ought to be up for you.
Right. I mean, they got obviously a great shot from Utah. The thing that perplexes me about Utah is their defense is really good, but they haven't been able to get the stops when they need them.
Yep. The fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The key.
I mean, same thing happened in Houston. And BYU's a little more understandable because you look at them and they're a better team. But for all the angst on the holding call, if you stop them right, you just had stopped them for 4 downs.
Well, this is
or 3 downs anyway, if you want to say the 1 down was a cheater down, whatever. But you stopped them there, and you held them in check. This was not a good offensive performance by the Cougars.
There were a lot of 3-play, 5-play, and 6-play.
Some field goals and a kick return.
Well, the first field goal, at least, was a long drive. That was when they put together, they're out there 12 plays. But they had a lot of not only 3 and outs, but maybe they get 1 first down, and then they're out. There were a lot of short possessions in that game.
They were ticking me off, man. I want to go to the Fiesta Bowl.
You got New Year's Eve plans.
Well, that's when they play, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's a New Year's Eve game.
Oh, I would very much want to be.
That's the quarterfinal on New Year's Eve, and then there's the other 3 are on New Year's Day.
Right.
With obviously the granddaddy parked in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, they get to keep that. And Fiesta Bowl doesn't really have that tradition compared to the granddaddy, obviously. So, yeah, this is within reach. And they got so much work to do that you really can't talk about it yet. It's out there. It's like talking about graduation when you're in your second semester of your freshman year in college. You got a long way to go. Even though you're where you want to be, you still got a long way to go.
I thought there were upsets. There were going to be upsets this weekend, and there were. I'm expecting more next weekend. The pressure, not BYU, but a lot of the other top teams are going to be on the road where bad things tend to happen. Ask Miami. Ask Georgia.
Okay. Yak, can you get Miami and Georgia on the phone?
Get him on the phone, Yak. We're going to ask him.
Hey,
take Mario, that very literally,
Mario,
Yak.
Can we get you on the show?
Mario, now. Let's go. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
All right, DJ PK, we just talked to Darius Lassiter, Karenni Reed, Ute linebacker, coming up in 1 hour. He'll be here at 9:30 on The Zone.
Hey, bro.
You hear us.